Sir, I want to dive into something we confirmed earlier this week. The FBI under Kash Patel has opened a grand conspiracy case looking at the last decade of weaponization against you and the protection of Democrats like Hunter Biden and Hillary Clinton as one ongoing criminal conspiracy. I want to ask what you think of that approach and whether you think a special prosecutor might be warranted.
Well, I'm happy that they did that. I don't know much about it, but it deserves to be done. It was a disgrace what happened. And what happened in 2016 and what happened in 2020. It's a disgraceful situation, and our voting has to be straightened out. I always say, if you don't have borders, if you don't have fair and free voting, you don't have a country. And we have disgraceful voting that they spend all of this money on voting, and some of the votes don't come back for weeks later. The whole thing it's a scam, and we have to straighten it out.
For all the things that have happened, there's the Russia collusion against you, there is Jack Smith against you, there's all the things that happened in 2020, not investigating China interference in the 2020 election. Where do you think, what are the things that are most important that you would like to see the FBI get to the bottom of?
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. That's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And, some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do. They just don't have the sustainability. They don't have they don't have that stick to it like glue. The Democrats, they have bad policy, they have bad candidates, they have bad everything, but they stick together. The Republicans don't do that, but they ought to look into the Jeffrey Epstein hoax too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
No, they definitely set the Republicans up. One big prosecutor look at it all. Would that make you feel good, do you think?
Well, I think it's in the case of Epstein, they've already looked at it, and they are looking at it, and I think all they have to do is put out anything credible. But, that was run by the Biden administration for 4 years. I can imagine what they put into files, just like they did with the others. I mean, the Steele dossier was a total fake.
Right.
It took 2 years to figure that out for the people. And all of the things that you mentioned were fake. Yeah. So I would imagine if they were run by Chris Wray and they were run by Comey, and because it was actually even before that administration, they'd been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me, but especially you look at that Steele dossier where they paid like 14 or 16 million. That's more than James Patterson gets paid to do a #1 bestseller.
Isn't that crazy?
And the thing turned out to be a total scam. So frankly, I think I love that they're looking at all this stuff. If they are, I hope they are.
Yeah, we've definitely confirmed it. They definitely are.
Mr. President, this is something that could give the American people answers on 3 different elections, 2016, 2020, and 2024. But to get that rolling, there are 2 sets of documents that are key to identifying possible conspiracy, but a grand jury can't see them unless you declassify them. Would you declassify the classified annex in the Hillary Clinton email case, as Senator Grassley has been asking?
Well, I would do that. I would do that, absolutely. I think it should be looked at. The whole thing was a scam.
Yeah.
And I would do that gladly.
Great. And there's one other one, so I want to mention. In the Durham report, they talk about the Clinton plan intelligence, the intercept where Hillary Clinton approves hanging that Russian shingle on your campaign house. That's another one that hasn't yet been declassified. Was that another one you'd consider declassifying?
I would declassify it. Yeah, why not? I would absolutely declassify it. And I will say this, the Durham report was preceded by the Horowitz report.
That's
and
right.
Bill Barr should have used the Horowitz report. You didn't need the Durham report because
that's right.
Say what you want about Mr. Horowitz, though he was appointed by Democrats, but he wrote the most vicious and true report that you've ever seen on somebody, and that was on James Comey.
Yep.
And I believe a couple of the people in the FBI that were crooked. But this report was so big, and then go back and check, even the New York Times wrote a violent editorial about Comey based on this report.
Yep.
And for some reason, Bill Barr didn't use it. I never, it's such a disappointment, but he didn't use it. But that was one of the big things. And it got very little press. It was, I think it was approximately 28 pages of corruption, absolute corruption.
You're right.
And that should have been used. Well, instead, Barr wanted to do a further report.
Yeah.
So he put Durham in charge, and, Durham took years. I mean, it took so many years. I think it was just a tapping. I think you ought to look at that, too. Why did they tap it along? They tapped it along forever. Do you remember how long it took for Durham to come out with his report?
23.
By the time he came out with a report, everybody was old and looking to retire.
Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right. No
Mr.
doubt.
President, I want to shift to the
But you should. I'd love you to look at the Horowitz report. It was absolutely incredible and had more credibility because he's a Democrat.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.